Tu sipo de dea belang buju mang song chi sa grey rang ani roken nang ko tu ma tengo tu sipo de dea nang amani ka baku.
Evening slips in like the mist. In these hills, the Garo people call their home. Gently, shrouding the land of spirits in inky blue. Clouds of mysterious tales hover to be told. As the men return from the Jhum fields, through woods that lay a mystical trail, to the lilting strains of the flute that say, it is time to rest, time for a soothing song.
Sa grey rang ani roken nang ko tu ma tengo tu sipo de.
Sleep, dear child. Fly away to dreamland. Angels will take care of you as you sleep. In the Jhum fields, your father is playing music on the flute. The moon and the stars are dancing to the tune.
The Garos are a musical people who call themselves the Achiks. For this community, there is music for every season and every reason, from cradle to grave. This feature will tell you a little about that first song, the cradle song of the Garo community. But what do these cradle songs tell us about the community itself, its folk history, its way of life? For the answers, we turn to Professor Caroline Marak, former head, Department of Garo, Northeastern Hill University, Tura campus.
Achiks have oral tradition, oral chronicles, which make up their history. These traditions show that the Garos had migrated from Tibet to the plains of Brahmaputra a long time ago, and they first settled in the North Bengal and then moved to the plains of the lower Assam. They practiced shifting cultivation as well as wet cultivation. When some of the Achuk groups entered the hills that now make up the western part of Meghalaya, they practiced Jhum cultivation. The contents of a lullaby show how the Jhum cultivation is reflected in it, the activities like planting.
William Carey, author of the Garo Jungle Book, writes that for the Achiks, their language is their history. This oral tradition is a vehicle for passing on historical accounts, myths, tales, told both in prose and verse, folk songs, epic narrations, lamentations, riddles, proverbs, lullabies, and so on, to succeeding generations.
The Garo word for cradle songs or lullabies is Bisa Mumua.
Iris Watre Thomas is a Garo music artist based in Shillong.
The Garo baby is usually tied to the back or front of the mother with a broad and long sling cloth called debra, which leaves the hands free for the mother to continue her work and lull the baby to sleep with her gentle song, much like the modern-day baby carriers.
Adds Queen Bala Marak, Associate Professor, Department of Anthropology, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong.
Because a child is on the back and the child wakes up or the infant wakes up, so then they want the child to go to sleep. So in such a situation, they would be patting the child's back and singing a lullaby as they are working. And this brings us to a very important aspect of Garo lullabies, which might be common in other societies as well, and that is that there is no time for a lullaby. It could be sung at night, it could be sung during the daytime, in the morning, evening, anytime.
We asked Professor Caroline Marak about her favorite lullaby.
No no manya grapa o we o samopibal matnapa o we o we o we o we no te raka o we o rangirani tak raka o we o we
Iris Watre Thomas translates this traditional lullaby for us.
Why do you cry, my little baby girl? Oh, way, oh. Did the fluff of the summer flower get into your eyes? Oh, way, oh. My little baby girl. Oh, way, oh. The yam of the Rangira hills. Oh, way, oh. Oh, way, oh. Oh, way, oh. Oh, way, oh. There are modern compositions, no doubt, but the two original, traditional, and popular tunes are O We O and O Nonoa. The first tune is sung for both male and female child, while the second tune specifically mentions the girl child. Ang ni no no bisara, o no no wa, sunan bigan tirara, o no no wa, dura abri bolrakam, o no no wa, song du awe sri dum dum, oh no no wa, oh no no wa, oh no no wa, oh no no wa, oh no no wa.
My little baby girl, you are covered with gold dust, my baby girl. See the trees on the Dura hills, my darling girl. The Songdu plains in the distance, my baby girl.
The word nono in Garo or Atku means little sister. This also infers that lullabies are not only sung by mothers, but also by the elder siblings of the baby. This is true because in the Garo household, the elder sisters and brothers are expected to help take care of their younger brothers, Jojongrang, and sisters, Nonorang. The Garos use the term Doma, De, Jong to refer to their boy child, and Tama, No, or Nono for their girl child.
Iris Watre Thomas has written a book titled Music and Musical Instruments of the Garo tribe of Northeast India. She tells us that the songs are passed down the generations in a matrilineal society and that the tunes of these lullabies are very limited.
What is interesting is that these tunes are known and used throughout Garo Hills. What I'm trying to say is that the lyrics differ from place to place, mother to mother, but the musical notation is common to all.
Dr. Caroline Marak outlines the various elements of the Garo lullabies.
There are rhymes, and rhymes further establish the harmony of sounds. Harmony and agreement of sounds have a soothing effect, and there is melody. Words are simple, and sentences and lines are equally important. Not the least of them are the images from the environment. The images are derived from the daily activities of the village and folk life. Planting in the farm, playing, birds and animals dear to the heart of a child and easily comprehensible to a budding brain are some of the stuff that make up the lullabies. Vegetation, the picture of nature, birds and animals reflect the environment. Growing up with the siblings, playing with the older children who will come to their aid is a reflection of their culture. For instance, in Gosai, another lullaby, it goes like this: Ang ni do do remet agal tica belang jok dada remera eda ang ni sanggong reng remet no kemacha gepujok dada kolera eda. In this, the urmat is the yellow bird which is applied to an object of love. Here, the urmat may be a sibling or maybe the baby himself or herself. My Dormat has flown to the market, to a far-off field. The singer says, Dear elder brother, please go and get it. My yellow bangle has fallen through the bamboo floor to the ground. Dear elder brother, please go and retrieve it.
An interesting observation from Queen Bala Marak, anthropologist, is that though the main objective of a lullaby is to put a child to sleep, it may have other dimensions too.
Young mothers could also be stressful. They might be having some stresses in their life. There could be some problems. But then when they sing a lullaby for the child, they are also making their own therapies. It becomes therapeutic to a large extent.
Queen Bala Marak attempts a categorization of Garo or Achik lullabies, beginning with those based on folk stories and songs.
It could be about the stories of star-crossed lovers like Sonachi Khalsan or Serujung Walchan, which are very, very common, of course. And then the little things, songs that you have, the tunes that are there, the words that are there are very, very moving indeed. Then the second type, which is actually becoming very, very common nowadays, is about everyday affairs. It could be the moon high up in the sky, or it could be birds flying, so on and so forth. This becomes a very common kind of lullaby that we have. In fact, one of the very common lullaby goes something like this. Tubo no no tubo. Tubo saying, what balbai nga reba? Reba no no ana reba. Ati gongara kande bara gatchakchan kande reba. This lullaby is basically about fireflies that are coming, and the mother who is singing the song is calling the fireflies down to come to my little girl, and it is tempting the fireflies by saying that I'll give you the knife or I'll give you the red cloth, so on and so forth. A third category of lullabies that we find are those talking about rewards. It's basically like, please go to sleep now, and then when you wake up, I'll give you sweets. So it's incentive so that the child would go to sleep.
A jump from incentive-based lullabies are the threat-based ones, the fourth category.
Talking about certain things which will come and harm them. For instance, there is a very famous lullaby which says, Nono ara tusibo, jojong ara tusibo, tango tusi jawade, peruri bagenne. Meaning, you sleep now, my boy, sleep now, my girl. If you do not sleep, the jackal will come and get you. Something which has come about in Garo society nowadays are church songs, whether it is church hymns or whether it is Sunday school songs. I talk about Sunday school songs also because, we have this little guiding lamp of mine, that very famous Sunday school song that we have. So that becomes a new type of lullabies that we have. And the sixth category is basically Hindi songs. In fact, when I last went to a Garo village to do some field work there, I was very surprised to hear a young girl singing Pardesi, Pardesi, that Hindi song. Meaning Bollywood songs or songs which they hear on TV and on radio, that has become a part and parcel of their life, and they're incorporating them into lullabies. So that also comes into the picture.
Iris Watre Thomas enlightens us about the not-so-well-known Ding Dinga song of the Garos, with a typical tune, which is sung not only as a lullaby, but also as a blessing for the well-being of the child. Here is a rare recording from her collection, sung by Jadi Siet Sangma of Boldorengre village near Tura.
Kegiatan bola agama Rat areng ketar bune tak mani ngani areng kusa sok bune nunune teng 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 ba
Ding 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 do ma ding ding ko karari na demo ding ding na di bipak na demo matma ding 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 do ma ding ding jungle ane merori sala koka ane bido sirapa ding 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 do ma ding ding. Rock, rock to sleep, my son. One day you'll wear a necklace, my son. You'll wear earrings and become as strong as the buffalo. You'll wear snake-like stripes on your back. You will tie a turban on your head. Rock to sleep, my son. Jungle ane merori sala, koka ane bido sirapa, ding 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 do ma ding ding. The snake-like stripes refer to the striped sash worn by men.
Mana jojong grappa o, jojo chat na grappa o. Amabat na riyang o, amanating taping o, oe o, oe o, oe o, oe o, bolrekeng o dantano o. 아침 등 즉다따오 사멍 비태 먹나빠오 아위쟁쟁 아위쟁오 오웨오 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 도크루이 장부치장오 볼공가 이르케가오 지정바에 독타페오 랑기라코 차도나오 오웨오 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 오웨오.
This lullaby, rendered by Gladbourne Mormon and Party, is the traditional Oeo and showcases the Christian influence. While the next one, sung by Hamilton Moomin, will illustrate the influence of music from the neighboring regions in Assam and Bengal.
Tum na ara yang kabako tu si bo mo de de.
The last two were studio renderings of lullabies. Dr. Desmond Karmau Plung of the Department of Creative Arts and Cultural Studies Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, has a corpus of lullabies documented from across the hills and valleys of Meghalaya. He presents a soundscape from the Ri-Bhoi region of the state.
I have been fortunate enough to catch them, to record and document these lullabies in situ. That is, when the mother or the mothers are actually at work. So on 2 occasions, while the mother is working at the loom, weaving some textiles, and the clacking of the machine, the loom, adds a very mesmerizing kind of an effect to the kind of singing that she does.
Okay.
And yes.
So she's carrying the child?
The child on her back.
On her back. And she's working at the same time?
And she's working at the same time. And she sings. And while she works with her hands to produce some textiles, there's the sound of the loom as it clicks and clacks, and it produces an effect which is so tremendous, actually. The other one is in the paddy field, because women also, they invest a lot of energy in the paddy field, helping the menfolk there. So the mothers would actually make some kind of a swing using a cloth and tie the cloth to a sturdy branch, and they'd put the baby in there. And this impromptu made hammock would serve as the cradle for a particular period of the day, and she would swing the hammock to and fro while she sings. And then you'd hear the chirping of the birds. You'd hear menfolk shouting to the buffaloes. So it produces a holistic experience that cannot actually be reproduced in the studio here.
Professor Caroline Marak voices her concern at the threats facing these folk treasures.
But I feel that the modern life that we are living, moving from place to another and being displaced from our own society, poses a threat to the lullabies. My daughter, for instance, far removed from the Achik society, from the Garos society, and from the tradition by time and space, language and culture, and living in a city far away from us, surrounded by the cacophony of sounds of traffic, constructions, day and night, appear to forget the lullabies.
Modernization has had an impact, no doubt, on the oral tradition. But there is a silver lining, feels Iris Watre Thomas.
In recent years, there has been a growing interest and effort among the educated Garos to preserve and revive our rich culture. Donald N. Sangma, who retired as a journalist with the Press Information Bureau, has gone a step further by writing down the tonic sulfur and staff notation of some of the more popular Garo folk songs so that our children may learn them. In 1976, a group of elders got together and introduced the 100 Drums Festival in a village called Asanang in West Garo Hills, which has since become a hugely successful festival held every year in the month of November.
The mesmerizing Wangala festival, where 100 drums throb to an ancient beat, where several villages come together in one place, where the young and old showcase their knowledge and skill in dancing, singing of traditional songs, playing of traditional musical instruments and games, sculpture, painting, weaving and basketry. Another way of preserving this heritage, especially the precious lullabies, is to keep recordings of these songs and to play them often, feels Donald N. Sangma.
Only by recording some sort of CDs, I think it will be a very good thing. And if possible, when a woman sings a lullaby, it would be very good to make a photograph of her carrying a child on her back or holding the baby in her arms. Those would be very good things to look at.
Donald N. Sangma's words find an echo in Queen Bala Marak.
We have to spread it out. See, like, who are the people who has to be taught this traditional lullabies? Not the grandmothers. I mean, they already know it. We are talking basically about a younger generation. And so how will the younger generation learn them when they don't have the avenues to learn them? They cannot go to school and learn it. They cannot go to college and learn it, right? So the only way to learn it is by listening to it, by hearing it again and again. Meaning, if somebody could learn a song like Pardesi Pardesi by listening to it on the radio, then why will that person not learn a traditional song when it is being played again and again on the radio?
Dear listener, as we take leave of you, we play one last song from the hills of Dreamtime, composed and rendered by Iris Watre Thomas. We take leave of you with the promise that the radio will be back with more.
Sagrang aniroken nang ko tumatango tu sipo dedeya nang amani kabaku.
Sleep, dear child. Fly away to dreamland. Angels will take care of you as you sleep.
Tu sipo dedeya dobi sarang baksa balwa bal sri balengon bulrang mojam mengon. Tu sipo dedeya nangamani kabaku kasari mumuon nang nakasagape abao.
In the Jhum field, your father is playing music on the flute. The moon and the stars are dancing to the tune.
Tu sipo dedeya nangamani kabaku kasari mumuon nang nakasagape.